Alright, moving on to the next Patreon request, and this one comes from Nolan Unejo, who asked me to do a what-if scenario, basically asking, what if the Klingons existed in the Star Wars universe? So yeah, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the 3rd tier, that'll allow you access to do so, as well as check out all the other stuff on the other 2 tiers. I have just done a Q&A, 2 Q&As in fact, for both Creature from the Black Lagoon and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so if you want to be part of those before I do them, please hit the link below and do so. Anyway, so let's get started with the video. So the story is actually not story. So yeah, first things first. Nolan didn't really give me a lot of like specific eras, so we gotta establish that of like what era of both Klingon lore and both like where continuity-wise Star Wars is. So we have to establish that first and foremost. For sake of argument, let's say this is set during the original trilogy of Star Wars films, the Galactic Civil War. Meanwhile, for Klingons, kind of doesn't really matter because they're not really in the allied with the Federation in this unit because there's no Federation. So let's say the Klingon Empire was in the Star Wars universe. Like what does that enthrall? So let's talk about it. So yeah, here we go. Anyway, now the first thing you have to really like take into account with something like this is that, I hate to say it, but like the Star Trek technology outclasses Star Wars technology. Star Trek ship-wise and everything else. I'm not trying to sound like I love Star Wars more than I love Star Trek and I love Star Wars equally, but even I'm well aware that like that Star Trek technology outclasses Star Wars technology like by a country mile. So if the planet of Kronos, if the Klingons existed in the Star Wars universe, the first thing that the Emperor that if you're trying to establish a new empire, if the Emperor had like, all right, the Klingons are going to be a problem first and foremost, fighting them off is going to be a major thing. And that's going to be a major point, is that the Galactic Empire and the Klingon Empire are probably going to be at war a lot. Now, the big thing is that that if there was an open war between the Klingons and the Empire, this would have to be, this is where all the focus is going to be for the Galactic Empire. They're going to be establishing rule and whatnot, and authoritarianism, but a lot of that military power is going to be focused on the Klingon Empire, who are also going to be obsessed with, collecting planets and whatnot. But here's something you have to really look at. What happens now with the rebellion? You see, the rebellion would probably still exist. Let's not discount that at all. I think the rebellion would still exist. But here's the problem: I don't think it would have enough power as it would in this era, because now the Empire has something to scare the populace with. It's not just fear. It's not just like ruling through fear. The Empire now has a boogeyman to scare people, we will protect you from the Klingons. Well, the Klingons are coming and they're going to burn your planet to the ground. Don't you want to help? And that's the thing, is that people would be stuck with the devil you know and the devil you don't. Therein lies the rub, is that the Klingon Empire gives this dictatorship a boogeyman to scare the Empire, to scare the Empire citizens into serving them. That's something I think a lot of people are going to take into account. The Empire is going to have, and the Empire itself is a machine. I don't think people realize, I think people sometimes forget of how well-oiled the Galactic Empire was. These guys were more than capable of having thousands of shipyards that could build a good number of Star Destroyers in months. Not to mention TIE fighters, AT-ATs, vehicles, and troops that would probably have a higher conscript count and recruitment count now that the Klingons are out there. The Klingons are coming to conquer you. And conquer you they would, because I imagine the Klingon Empire would be would be not as good to be under as the as the Galactic Empire. So Klingons are also fast shipbuilders. Their whole empire is dedicated to war. They love fighting. So to have that, to have this empire that is predicated to war, now at war with an empire that can keep up with you technologically wise, that's going to be fun for the Klingons. They now have a force to battle with. Their ships, I'm sorry, are just a little more advanced than do I think they'll have problems with TIE fighters and whatnot? Yeah, but I don't think a TIE fighter is going to be able to destroy a bird of prey or the bigger classes of ships. The other thing is that the Galactic Empire, is going to be doing its damnedest to get that cloaking technology. That's going to be a bitch and a half, because they wouldn't be able to detect, a sudden bird of prey just decloak over a planet and just start opening fire. On ground attack wise, ground attack wise, that's also going to be difficult for both. Klingons love to fight hand-to-hand, but they don't really have, boots on the ground, weaponry or vehicles that they can really use. They have some things, but not on the level of, a Klingon warlord. Klingons aren't going to have, a fucking equivalent to an AT-AT. They might build something an equivalent, they might be alright, the ground, ship-wise, we're doing pretty good. But the ground game? Oh, shit. I mean, we can fight. In a hand-to-hand fight, a stormtrooper is not going to kill a blooded Klingon, a full-blooded Klingon warrior. He's going to be getting a bathlet to the face. Now, and also, they're better shots. Just kidding. I know that's an old joke, but yeah. So yeah, the Empire would have to evolve better vehicles and stratagems to keep up with the Galactic Empire, who has thousands upon thousands of worlds, whereas the Klingons have to go out and conquer worlds constantly to replenish themselves, whereas the Empire already has a predisposed kingdom from the Galactic Republic. The other thing, getting back to the Galactic, to the Rebellion, is that you have to really take into account that the Rebellion is gonna look bad. Now that but the Empire's keeping us safe from the Klingons. We're now in the and then there may be some rebellion members of the Rebellion who are we may have to either ally ourselves or go to war with the Klingons, because they understand that's also tyranny. Or they could be we could ally with the Klingons and fight them later. There's no real good answer for the Rebellion to have in this scenario. They're not going to have the same level of power as they would if the Empire had just a fist on the galaxy. Now they have a reason to do that. Now the Empire also would probably have the Death Star accelerated in order to destroy Kronos. Could the Klingons don't exactly have a great spy network, but I don't know. Could they destroy the Death Star before it reached Kronos? Yeah, I don't know. But honestly, it's the Klingon Empire would give the Emperor what he wants: more power and something to make the galaxy less focused on him and more focused on that, and also give him more power to use. And war, if you have something to pose as the bad guy that ain't you're gonna use that. So yeah, that's what I kind of think on a whole with if the Klingons existed in the Star Wars universe. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if the Klingons existed in the Star Wars universe? Just comment below, let me know. I'd like to thank Nolan Uneho for this Patreon request and continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.